right, we're back. Is that music still going?
Yeah, I forgot to stop it.
So that was that fucked me up right there.
It didn't go into the right format. There we go. Look at that.
There we go. Okay, that's
Having a day.
I didn't like that at all. Judd'z Budz episode. Oh no, it's not on the thing.
It's not. Ooh.
I think I can remember it though. 136.
You nailed it.
The Wayne Gretzky.
I only know that because Isha had it set to be part of the post on Twitter. So
I just remembered that it was Gretzky plus Zuccarello last week. So, but this one's the Gretzky plus Kyle Rao episode. There is one other very notable 37 that I won't be mentioning because I just can't stand listening to on a broadcast. So,
wait. What did you say? You can't stand what?
Listening to him
on
the broadcast.
Oh, I thought you said on a podcast. I'm like, he's actually awesome on podcasts, but the broadcast, I won't comment.
It's painful stuff, but we're not gonna. It's fine.
We're not doing it.
We'll let everyone else figure it out. Hoppy, how we doing, Mr. At State of Hoppy? There we go. That felt wrong.
I was gonna say I don't know who you're talking to, but you know what? We're here. We're drinking beer. We're talking about hockey, so things are okay.
We are doing that.
I don't know, not as good as you, because I didn't pretend and take stolen valor and say that I got a hole in one this weekend. So
yeah, no, me either.
That's for you.
Yeah, nope. Was in New Hampshire this weekend for a fundraiser thing. Then I went and played golf with my buddy on Sunday. I'll tell you what. We walked up to this hole. I think it was hole 4. I don't fucking remember what hole it was. Either way, part 3. Every time on this fucking hole, this is in North Conway, New Hampshire. I literally every time, doesn't matter how well or how bad I'm playing, I chunk it on this hole every single time, and the ball barely makes it past the tee box. I said that out loud, stepped up, thinned it this time, and then I looked up. I was like, oh, I like the path that's on, and then just rolled up right into the hole, and I was just like, thank God there's no one on the golf course today because it's 40 degrees out, so we didn't have to go in and buy anyone beers. But yeah, first ever hole in one. So quitting my job, waiting for the PGA Tour to send me my tour card. I'm now a pro golfer. But yeah, that was nuts. I still can't believe it happened. Feels cool. My buddy, who was our number 1 golfer at our college, still hasn't got a hole in one ever. So I was like, looks like I should have been on the team then. But yeah, that happened. So quite the eventful weekend. That was the other one. Yeah, Josh Harding was the other number 37 that I almost considered using, but I miss Kyle Rao. I love Kyle Rao. It was a short but fun stint.
That's okay. That was mean.
What?
You had to say short?
It was. It was like 3 years, 4 years.
Yeah, but he's also notably very short.
Oh, is he? Oh, yeah, you're right. He is. Yep, that's true. See, I didn't even take it there. You took it there. You took it there, not me. That's fine. Where should we start here? Because, NHL things still happening. By the way, one team that we were apparently very wrong on, but not really that wrong, because we said they would suck anyways, but the San Jose Sharks, the only team without a win. Oh my
okay, but God. Like having Macklin Celebrini might help that a little bit.
Yeah, that would help, but it's never good when it's like, what are they missing? Oh, their youngest player.
Heart and soul.
Wow, are they bad? Like,
yeah.
At one point, I think I don't even remember who they were playing, but I think shots it was like 31-4 in like halfway through the second period last week. I was just like, oh my God, this is like, just do halves today, fellas. Let's just do halves. You don't need the third period. Like, this is cruel and unusual punishment. But they stink, like, real bad. Even with Tyler Toffoli, apparently doesn't matter what team he plays for. He was put on this earth to put up like 25 goals at least every season. In the NHL, no matter what team he's on. I think he still has like 6. Like, he's just going to score goals no matter what. It's crazy.
I mean, accurate on all counts. I also didn't think that was news to you.
No, it's just like it's remarkable. It's just like he's just going to score goals. Like he just will do it somehow, some way.
Yeah, see, we need a little bit more here on this hole-in-one. Cole requests it. No, demands it.
I mean, I don't really know how much more there is. I hit a golf ball in the air where I wanted it to go, and it hit the.
Did it feel like it was going where you wanted it to go?
The second at first, no, because I thinned it, as I said.
Right.
And I looked up and I was like, oh, wait a minute. I like where that ball's going. If it's the right distance, that's going to be close. And then it was like slow motion from there. And then it just followed exactly the path that I thought it would if I hit the green where I wanted to. And I did for once in my life. And it rocked super hard. I didn't have like the crazy reaction either. I was just like, I just turned around and I was like,
wait, did that happen?
That's in the hole. And my buddy was like, yeah, is that it? And I was like, I mean, yeah, I don't know. We're like the only two people here. So that's cool. This is just a moment for me and my buddy now. And then he told me to go fuck myself.
Yeah, all right. That's fair. That also sounds like someone that would be your friend. So,
yeah, he's a beauty.
Yeah. But all right. So San Jose bad. On the flip side, we got to say Winnipeg good.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah.
8 in a row.
And I mean, you mentioned it last week. We could challenge the strength of schedule, but I mean, I'm even just watching them play is just wildly impressive, even if the strength schedule isn't all the way there. Like, and the guy that I said was going to make me eat my words, Cole Perfetti, is going off. He looked fucking incredible. Like driving play, scoring, assisting, like he's doing everything. He's awesome. So good for Cole Perfetti. But yeah, Winnipeg 8-0. They're going up against Toronto tonight.
So still strength schedule is a concern.
Yeah, strength schedule is still a concern. But I mean, they're fun to watch. Like they are a fun fucking hockey team to watch. And again, Nick Ehlers, love seeing him go off and get the minutes that he deserves because he rules. We love watching Nick Ehlers. Such a fun player. And I like when he gets mad too, because he'll like just decide for whatever reason to fight people. Like there was this, I forget, there was like 4 games where he fought 3 times, and one of them was like Jamie Benn, and like he was going up against like dudes that were legitimately like legit fighters. It was like 2 years ago, I think, and he's just like, I mean, getting beaten up, but then like getting up and laughing, and then going out the next night and fighting again some other like middle heavyweight. I'm like, what is he doing? But he rules because he's just a glue guy. So good for him, and good for the Winnipeg Jets. My God.
Yeah. Oh shit. Well, we got 2 videos that we got to hit here, Z. First one, not the one you requested, but it feels like we need to get into this more because of your extracurriculars around it. Let's see, share screen. Yeah, I should probably remember.
Oh,
boom. So, Z, I believe your exact words were something around disrespect.
Michael Rasmussen, Detroit Red Wings against the New Jersey Devils. I believe it was 3-2 at that point. New Jersey going for the. Oh no, I think they were up by 2 actually. But either way, puck gets sent down. New Jersey's net's open, obviously. And Michael Rasmussen goes and just tucks it in the net. And Jack Hughes goes for the Scheifele on Jake Evans in the bubble. Goes for that hit. And Michael Rasmussen, without looking, absolutely hammers Jack Hughes. And then the standing over and yelling in his face. The slow motion's incredible. I said it's the most a truly disrespectful empty net goal, and I respect it. And I'll tell you what, the video eventually started taking off, and I should have known. I don't know why I let it surprise me. I don't know why I let it surprise me, but there were just a ridiculous amount of people taking issue with me using the word disrespectful as if they don't understand what I mean when I say that. I loved it. It rocked. It's like my favorite. It's one of my favorite empty net goals ever. And just the standing over him is so funny. And then I don't even know what Hughes gets up and starts saying back. Like, I mean, just
what do you say?
Take your medicine and go back to the bench, dude. Like, you get him next time, bro. But he gets up and he like keeps going. And like there was just a little scrum going for like 5 minutes, and then it carried over into like the final buzzer, like when they dropped the puck again. And I'm like, you got put on a poster. Skate to the bench, take your medicine. People maybe will forget soon. But he just kept going. But yeah, and I said this before, I really do not like clapping back at people. Like if I say something stupid on purpose and then people get upset about it and like start tweeting weird shit at me, like in this instance, getting mad about me using the word disrespectful, I usually just roll my eyes like, all right, whatever. But there was one that I almost clapped back at. And the guys, because the tweet just said, fuck you, you're a pussy. And I was like, okay. I mean, at least everyone else almost thinly veiled what they were saying, like why they were mad about it. And I was about to hit send on this tweet. And I was like, wait a minute, I have to follow my own principles here. And I just like went and like looked at their profile. It clearly a 16-year-old. I was like, okay, I am gonna not clap back with anything because that's just a brutal look for me. If I should have known, but I was so close to chirping a 16-year-old on Twitter, which would have been a tough day for me. But
clearly a 16-year-old, nice.
Crisis averted.
Yeah,
but that was so funny, dude. Like. He wasn't even like again the video. It's unbelievable. He wasn't even looking. I don't even know if he knew Hughes was coming. And Hughes exploded, like he disintegrated, like on contact. And he only got like his hip. Like that was the thing. Like Hughes ran into his leg and his hip, and still disintegrated. I was like, oh my god! If you're Rasmussen, like that's a career highlight right there. I'd be telling my grandkids about that.
Yep. Well, then we got to go to the next one, which I think everyone can enjoy. Matthew Tkachuk. Tee it up here, Z.
Okay. So I am also not a fan of like people being like, why does the NHL love player X when they don't get any penalty calls against them or whatever? I'm at the point now where I don't know what the Florida Panthers have on the NHL. The goals that are allowed to stand, the goals that get taken back, specifically for goaltender interference. Like, it's out of control at this point, but this is the worst one that we've seen. Somehow this goal by Matthew Tkachuk counts. It starts with him running into the crease, hitting Sorokin. Sorokin whacks him back. Matthew Tkachuk takes his stick and throws it, goes back behind the net again, cross-checks him, goes into the paint, is all over him, tucks the puck in, from the on top of him, and then elbows him in the head, punches him in the head, and puts him in a headlock. He does this all the time to goalies, like he's pretending to like celebrate a goal or something, but he's like punching you in the head, and the goal fucking stood.
So here's my counter, because everything you said there's accurate, but did he interfere with Sorokin stopping the puck? Like a ton of things there should have been penalties, but by definition, like when he scores that goal, the goalie wasn't interfered with, was he?
It doesn't even matter. There was already a penalty. There was at least 2 penalties before the puck even was there.
I agree with that. I'm just saying this isn't an argument to stand on for goalie interference. It's just literally everything except for that.
Well, yeah, you also can't really make any contact and score from inside the crease. He was also literally, his arm was draped over Sorokin's left shoulder to get the puck, so Sorokin literally couldn't move. Or was it, I can't even see, was it Varlamov? I don't even know.
That's Varlamov.
It was Varlamov. I was going to say that didn't look like Sorokin. But yeah, I mean, the video is insane, and the Florida Panthers tweeted out the video of it. It's like,
that's the best part, that they
respect that part. Like, yeah, they're like, fuck it. But it's insane. This is like, whoa, there's a massive graphic up that. Oh, and just me. That's scary. I don't like that.
Yeah, no.
There's already been like 4 times, like specifically goaltender interference calls that have gone the Panthers' way that everyone watching was like, okay, yeah, no way, like that goal will count for Florida, or like that's definitely a goal for whoever the Panthers are playing. And like they just get, I don't know how it's possible. Like it is insane how this happens. Like I'm impressed almost, but again, I never liked the why does the NHL love this team? I am now flirting with like going there. It's insane. It was one of the more ridiculous goals that I've seen count in a very, very long time. Like, that was insane. That was outrageous. That's my piece. Did you think it was a good goal?
No, not at all. But I'm just saying, I like trying to wrap my head around how they could have gotten to that point is more where I was coming from. I'm not actually defending it. I'm playing devil's advocate.
Like, everything that Tkachuk did in that sequence could have been called a penalty. Like, literally every action that he took in that video was a penalty. Starting with flying into the crease backwards and just hitting fucking Varlamov, and then like punching him, taking his stick and throwing it, and then cross-checking him, and then just scoring while draped over him, and then elbowing him and punching him in the head. Yeah. What the fuck? It was insane. But you know what? Great goal, I guess. Goal of the year. There has to be a point where even Tkachuk's like, I don't know how the fuck that counted.
Yeah.
But here we are.
Look at that. One of the Tkachuks can do no wrong, and the other one is basically getting run out of Ottawa. So,
yeah. By the way, well, speaking of Ottawa, but more so just the Atlantic in general, what did we say before the season? It's the closest division, team by team. It's the only division right now where every team's at least 500. Ottawa's in 8th place with 8 points. The Panthers are in 1st place with 13 points. Like, it's like that division's insane, the Atlantic. It's just going to be close. I mean, at some point, I would expect Detroit and Montreal to, like, go through a rough patch here. I mean, Detroit's put up some good wins, but I still expect both of those teams at least. I mean, the Sabres are playing really good hockey right now, too.
That's the thing, though. That's what blew my mind, just, like, taking a quick glance at the standings before we jumped on today. Like, wait, Buffalo's technically in the playoff picture as it sits today? Wow.
Big reason, dude. Tage Thompson is doing Tage Thompson things, and he and JJ Peterka are now showing some real nice chemistry. And that goal they scored, there was just an unbelievable give and go goal that they had like Saturday, I think it was.
I love how you in one episode you have accidentally called Kyle Rouse short and you've accidentally called Tage Thompson big.
Yeah.
You're falling face first into the right stuff. It's basically your hole in one.
Basically.
Okay. The last thing we have to hit on for NHL, unless there's anything else you have, of course, but in about an hour, we're going to have Steven Stamkos making the return to Tampa, which is the weirdest sentence ever.
Yeah, and I mean, fortunately for the Predators, they got to play the Boston Bruins, one of the worst teams on the planet. I am officially an absolute hater this year. It's working out well for me. Although the overtime win against Toronto was the funniest win. Well, I mean, in the long list of funny wins for the Bruins over Toronto, just the fact that like they won in overtime because Austin Matthews, inexplicably not under pressure, just chucked an absolute pizza up the ice in overtime. And Marchand still almost missed. But anyways, fortunately for the Predators, they got to play the Bruins and kick the ever-living dog shit out of them 4-0. So they got that win finally. But, I mean, yeah, still waiting for Stamkos to really take off. And, I mean, really the Predators as a whole to take off here. But, I mean, that's going to be one hell of an ovation, which he fully deserves. Still can't believe – it's still so weird. I was convinced no matter what he was going to end up back there, so – it's good. It's still weird seeing him not in a Lightning uniform, jersey, sweater.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's gonna get a well-deserved, massive ovation there. So good for him. We'll see if he scores. Has he scored this year?
I don't think so. No.
I don't think he has either. This would be. I mean, if he hasn't, which he has. He has one goal.
He does. Okay.
So this would be where his the period of him going off for like 10 games, this would be where it starts. I half expect him to put up a hat trick. I might bet on him scoring a hat trick. I'm going to do that right now, actually. I'm going to put some money on him scoring a hat trick tonight.
That's trick.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the Predators, man, I don't know. I'm like waiting for them to really figure it out, but like literally they kicked the shit out of Boston, and that was the only game that they've looked good. So I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. I don't know. I was in the same boat as you, thinking like, oh yeah, he'll go back. Well, I definitely thought it was going to be because he caved and like took a very, very friendly deal again.
Right.
Not as friendly as they wanted him to take, because holy shit was that. I don't know. I brought this up with Joe on last week's episode of Fellowship, and he said, like, I don't know if it's disrespectful. Like, that's the business decision they made. If he doesn't want to take it, which I don't blame him for not wanting to take, then good on him.
I mean, I feel like both things can be correct, where it's just like crazy that like that's what they offered him, but also like fair enough, I guess, if you're not super into the idea of bringing him back. Like, I mean, at that point, you probably know he's going to say no. Or if he says yes, that's great for you. But like, I mean, maybe they were already just resigned to most likely losing him anyways. So, yeah, I feel like both things can be true, though.
This is actually the content we need here from the chat. Mateo, it's funny that Canada's pizza chain is called Boston Pizza. Cosgrove fires right back with, I think they have a steakhouse chain called Montana's too.
That's what we need. That's
Canada wants
that's what
so bad.
Yeah, they just can't. They never will. But there's always next year.
Well, whenever we talk, like, we're not, let's be clear, not getting into politics here, but whenever people start talking about like build the wall and like deporting people, whatever, I just go back to South Park, where they're making fun of Trump. This is like 4 years ago at least. And the Canadians build a wall before he can, and he gets really pissed off and wants to get in, and they won't let him.
Come on, work, motherfucker.
Oh, Canada hates. Should have capitalized us. Big miss, Cosgrove. All right. Well, Z, do we want to? Suppose it's about time to transition and talk a ton of Minnesota Wild here on the other side. All right. Not weird segment. I don't know. It's always interesting when like the biggest stuff to talk about happens like the day after we record, and here we are a week later talking about it. But what a fucking big boy pants win over the Florida Panthers last week. And really just going through Florida as a whole before we talk about the absolute debacle that happened in Pennsylvania.
I mean, yeah, last week we said like what we were saying, the Wild, like, they look good. They look like a very good hockey team. Obviously getting the results. At that point, they hadn't trailed in any games yet. And we said, what does this road trip, like, what would make us pretty confident that they are, in fact, a good hockey team, like a very good hockey team? And I think what I said was like, look at least like looking like you belong and competing with both Florida teams, and they come away with 2 wins against both of them, including a 5-1 shit kicking of Florida. I think that's the second game in a row where they play Florida and Bobrovsky gets pulled. They scored 5 goals and 22 shots. But I mean
that Eck goal, like right away, I'm like, just get him out of there. He's not about it anymore.
Yeah, like didn't have himself set at all. Like I don't know why he wasn't anticipating any kind of shot whatsoever. And then even then, he still had a little bit of time to like react. Get like he just didn't. Yeah, he didn't even move. But I mean, they're also again doing this without Spurgeon, who apparently looks like he may be good to go. I think I saw that from Russo today, so that's obviously a positive. But I mean, first of all, the win against Florida, they just outplayed them in all facets. I thought, at least it wasn't just because Bob couldn't make a save, but I mean, like second effort on pucks, hard on the forecheck, good in the neutral zone, and like the thing that Florida always kills teams with is if you don't get the puck out of the zone first try, like they're going to hem you in and they are going to just destroy you until the puck ends up in your net. And at no point did it feel like Florida had the forecheck going at all. Minnesota, honestly, it felt like they just kind of kept it simple, made the right plays at the right time, and then obviously capitalized on Bobrovsky having another off night against the Wild. But an incredibly impressive win. And then they followed that up with that win in Tampa, which like there were definitely parts of that game where Tampa was really going. Gustafsson made some ridiculous saves. But I mean, even when I think because Tampa did end up going ahead 2-1 at one point, but I mean, Minnesota at no point looked like they were ready to cave. They kind of just came back after those 2 goals against and immediately had some scoring chances themselves and got back on the score sheet and level. And then again, like last year, it felt like one thing would go wrong. And then the next 10 minutes, it was just like chaos, not being able to make a single play, not being able to connect a single pass, but they just at no point looked rattled at all other than the Philly game, which was just a full-on shit show. But I mean, that was bound to happen eventually. But I mean, against teams like Florida and Tampa, like just wildly impressive.
It's going to sound weird too, but like for me, the mark of a good team is beating the crap out of good teams and hanging with them and then kind of catching yourself with your pants down against the bad team because you just came off of 2 big wins. Like that's an early season lump. If you're doing that in March, bad. October, it's almost like, no, they're like feeling themselves and they just like overlook the Flyers because they fucking suck.
Yeah. And I mean, that was just in general, just a fucking really weird game.
Dude, I met up with Joe to grab some beers because the wife and kid are out of town for the weekend and watched the first period. And then I had to get back for kid duty. And like the amount of things that I missed in a maybe like 10-minute span was just insane. Very not weird. It is wild.
Yeah. So again, I was in New Hampshire doing the fundraisers, which for that specific fundraiser, I always just make sure I post up in the food truck because it's electric. When it gets busy, it is chaos and we're flying around fucking just frying shit. I had the game on my phone in the corner. And in the middle of chaos, at one point I looked back at my phone and 3 goals had been scored. And I think I had my phone in my hand 2 minutes ago. I was like, where is like, I don't even know a plan about it at this point, but I honestly thought once they got back to 2-2, I was like, okay, they're about to just score 7. They did not. Philly scored 7. But it was like periods of 5 minutes where nothing would happen. And then 2 minutes where it's just like, fucking all out chaos. Very happy for Lino to get his get a couple goals. That first goal he scored was ridiculous. While falling, just snapping that home, like that was sick.
Yeah.
And I mean, Marco Rossi just continuing to find the score sheet. By the way, Kirill Kaprizov is on a tear right now. That is like, I mean, he's putting himself in the Hart talk 10, 8, whatever.
Integrity would like to start off by saying KK97 is an absolute madman, and that's followed up immediately by Tom earlier in the show saying, I'd like to say the Rossi is back. Like, this line has been great. Like, Zuccarello looks like he's 25 years old.
If
you ignore the skating.
Yeah, well, he doesn't. He also just doesn't get enough love when people talk about some of the best passers in the NHL.
Agreed.
Oh my! Like the fucking passes that dude makes cross ice, like no look also just looks funnier because he's so short and uses such a long stick. I don't know how he generates that much power on those passes, but I mean, he is ripping pucks at Kaprizov, and Kaprizov prefers to have like hard passes for those one-timers too. Like he loves that. I love too. That line is amazing, and they are putting up amazing offense. But again, yeah, Marco Rossi points in all but the first game, I think, so far this year. And I mean, I read Russo's mailbag, which I didn't like some of the answers about Rossi and potential of like what it looks like down the line. They're not ready to commit to him long term. I get it, but like some games, that's annoying. But I mean, yeah, specifically that line just driving them on offense, and like Kaprizov is looking like a Hart contender right now. Like it is insane. Like it's funny. Like they were talking about how hard preseason was apparently this year, and then like Russo and LaPanta asked Kaprizov about it, and he just started laughing because he was like, "Is this supposed to be hard?" Like, it is insane how he will be out there for like 2.5 minutes, and like 2 minutes and 15 seconds into his shift, he is still going full pelt. Like he doesn't get tired, and like at the end of those long shifts, he does not get muscled off the puck. Like he'll throw a reverse hit. He is an actual machine. It's incredible.
Yeah. Well, and I'd love to. Friedman said, I think last week on the reduced version of 32 Thoughts, he said he thinks part of the negotiation to get Kaprizov to extend this coming summer is he gets to play as much as he wants. They will not pull him off the ice. They will not set him to lines. He just plays when he wants to play.
Yeah, he's like at one point they had an offensive zone face-off, and it was like Kaprizov, Huzadinov, and Lauko. And I was like, wait, what? How do we? He's like, yeah, I think Kaprizov just said no to the change. I don't know. And it was like, okay, fair enough, dude. And I think also, he hit the crossbar.
I'm sorry, dude. That's such a fun line.
Yeah,
like that should not be a first line, but like that's just a very fun line. The people that are on it, like that's just. Can you come up with a more fun line on this team? I don't think I can.
No, that's just all out, all gas, no brakes, fucking high octane insanity. Like capped off with Kaprizov doing ridiculous shit.
Which of the three is huffing the most gas? I think it might be Lauko, but
Lauko for recreational reasons, most likely. I don't know. Nothing to do with that.
Oh God. Important note here from Flyer Voracek. The Philly game concerns me because the reasons they lost are the reasons they struggle in the playoffs. And I think there's definitely some sentiment to that. But my question for you, Z, because I'm not sure how I feel about it yet, but the Foligno comments about Hathaway. While I think we can agree that Hathaway deserved comments, it felt, I don't know. This might be a little knee-jerk, but it felt very much like Foligno in the past couple of playoff series where like he just like loses his cool and like just spouts off. Is this in that category for you at all? Or is it just he's stepping up and defending a teammate with his words instead of his fists, which bothers me?
I mean, it felt more like the latter to me, honestly. Like they were also like incredibly like that loss was, I mean, like ridiculous. So I'm sure he was already fuming after like somehow losing that game. And I mean, Hathaway literally does this constantly. Like he's targeting Eriksson X's nose, like which he knows is broken. And like, so that's just
knows what he knows.
Yeah, there you go. So I mean, yeah, no, it didn't feel like the same. It's like the playoff things would like legitimately like, bro, shut up, like stop, like it was like, and I mean he was out of control, but that one felt to me like, again, probably exhausted because this has been the weirdest schedule, by the way. Like what a weird October this has been, like in Winnipeg, in St. Louis, in Columbus, in Florida, in Tampa, in Philly. Now they're going to Pitt. Like it's just a weird schedule. So I'm sure they're fucking exhausted as is.
Yeah, dude, we had Russo on for this week's fellowship, and like he's just like, this schedule's a fucking joke.
It's like I don't know how. This is the shit. Like you see it, and you're like, who was like, hey, who put it together? But then you're like, who signed off on that? Like, who was like, yeah, that makes a ton of sense. Like, this is
all
ridiculous.
the sense in the world.
And that's where I land on like the loss too, was just the fact that like they're towards the end of this super weird, wonky schedule, coming off 2 ridiculously hard played games against Florida and Tampa. Like I'm sure they are gassed, and for sure probably overlooked Philly too. So just like a combo, but
dude, what a series there though, with like Zuccarello being the only one that gets taken in the scrum. I'm with Cole. That was bizarre.
Yeah, I was just like, I watched it like 5 times, and I was like, I don't even know how he got 2. I was like, what? They were like, fuck him. You're going to the box. Everyone else, you're cool.
Whose stick is most disproportionate to their body size?
The ref was just, I couldn't look at anything else. Why is he using such a long? This is crazy. You know what? I don't want to watch this. Like, get in the box. It was weird. Like, how did the fuck did he had the? They're like, yeah, Zuccarello and no one else.
Yeah, fair. Yeah, I don't know. It's weird, but we got this one here from Flyer Voracek as well, which I'm sure is not at all inspired by the beggings and clamorings of one Michael Russo, but manifesting the Calgary fall off for the future partner of Zeev Buium, Rasmus Andersson, to be traded.
Yeah, I mean, that's one, like, every time that there's like the super early trade options for teams or whatever, like at this point, Anderson's firmly at the top of everyone's list, just because, I mean, we're assuming Calgary will have eventually fall off, which, I mean, I'd be shocked if they
are going to.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, 1 year left on his current deal, not making a ton of money. That's going to be an expensive acquisition, whoever does make that trade. And I have to look at how old he is. I think he's probably 27. Is he older than that, actually?
I'll find it.
Yeah, I mean, it is interesting because you look at the prospect pool. Yeah, he's 28.
He literally turned 28 yesterday.
Oh, damn it. All right. Yeah, I mean, the thing that makes it interesting is just the fact when you look at the prospect pool on defense, they're loaded, but on the right side, there's probably a lot of question marks just about sure things. It's like the right shot D's go. I mean, he plays really well at both ends. I mean, right now, offensively, he is going again. He plays super hard. He's a fun player to watch. Also, great personality. Like, he is funny as fuck. But I mean, that's going to be also a big extension. It's going to be expensive just to acquire him. I don't know. Would I like to see him in a Wild sweater? Yeah, 100%. Do I worry about like just the cost of acquiring him? Plus, at that point, you're assuming that you need to extend him for whatever the package you're giving up is. You probably would like to have that long-term extension, which at that point, between that and the impending Kaprizov extension, that's taking up a massive part of your cap. Plus the fact, I guess, Leopold's pretty aggressively wanting them to pursue like a couple big names next season. So
but that's what confuses me. How can they afford those guys? I don't understand it.
I don't know.
Because like if Russo's saying it, there's clearly something to it. I don't understand where this money comes from.
Yeah.
After all of the 4x4s.
Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming.
Is that the new Wild logo? Do we just get like a 4x4 like cheap or something? Call it good.
Yeah.
What's the best representation of a 4x4? Just get 2x4s. See if people pick it up.
Yeah, cheap special. Yeah.
No. That's what you do. It's 4, and then you have 2x4s for the X.
Oh my God.
4. Done. Fire up the merch. It's happening.
Print the T-shirts. Yeah, I don't know. It feels like just I'm probably too rich. That, like, I mean, making that work feels like it would be incredibly costly, not just this year, but like, again, specifically with that extension.
Well, especially with that agent. Ben Hankinson's going to just rake him.
Love that guy.
He's awesome.
He's the man.
He's so funny.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
So we have to then talk about the final return for Marc-André Fleury to Pittsburgh. He's going to finally play there. It's weird.
Yeah, it is weird. And boy, do the Penguins look bad.
Well, hang on. That's parts of the Penguins look horrific. Parts of the Penguins look freaking awesome. And that's what makes it super frustrating for me. Because it's not, if the whole team sucked, I'd be over it. Easy. The fact that their forwards are giving them every opportunity to win every fucking game, and the blue line and the goaltending just says, no, thank you. It's horrible.
Yeah, I mean, the blue line, I'm pretty sure at this point, just in terms of how much they're giving up, like high danger chances, off the rush, like every facet, like I think they do have the most porous defense in the league right now. Just looking at like the underlying numbers, especially, like it is unbelievable. And like, dude, that Oilers game was, I think it was 4-0. Oilers put up 50 shots on goal. And of course, at the final moment of that game is Edmonton having a shorthanded breakaway. Like it was an absolute pounding. But like you said, then you still have kind of like Malkin's going off offensively. And it's just like that has, like you said, that is insanely frustrating. But I mean, we'll see what they look like against Minnesota. But again, we know Fleury typically doesn't like playing there, but like obviously he is this time. So it's gonna be very weird.
Both games are in a get right situation. Like both are coming off of not awesome losses to not awesome teams. And Sid's fucking giving her this game. Like it is one of those weird ones though, with just how the defense and goaltending is gone. If Fleury lets up 3, Wild win.
Yeah.
So like, can he hold them to that, or do Malkin and Crosby just eviscerate him, to use your words?
Yeah, I mean, that's the other thing too. Like Minnesota, looking at those underlying numbers too, like their defense is pretty hot, like close to the top of the league. Like they are not giving up. They literally like
close to the top. Didn't you like share something that said they were literally first in every fucking category?
Yeah, and however they've played 8 games, and the Philly game absolutely decimated those stats. Like in one game,
that'll work.
Like literally in one game. I looked at it before we jumped on. I was like, oh my god.
Oh god, they're at 17 on everything now. Shit.
It was like, holy shit, they're at the middle of the pack again.
I didn't even think about that. That's hilarious.
Literally, the Flyers game absolutely decimated the stats. I was like, holy fuck, that's what happens 8 games in. But I mean, yeah, literally, other than the Flyers game, like Minnesota really isn't giving up a whole lot. And I mean, which again, like they're doing that, like playing John Merrill a lot without Jared Spurgeon. And there was like a game or two that Eric Sinek wasn't there, and he accounts for a lot of that team defense in general as well. So another reason why I've like decided that I think the Wild actually are a very good hockey team. So we'll see what it looks like against Pittsburgh. But I mean, yeah, you have to imagine. Like, I don't even want to know how pissed off Crosby is, which is always terrifying.
Do you know who's more pissed off? Malkin.
Yeah, he's like, how much more do I need to do?
Crosby contains his anger though. Like Malkin wears that shit.
Yeah,
always. But no, like seriously, those two still playing like they're in their 20s. You should be winning more games, and you're getting the depth help too. Like the bottom 6, granted, like there's been spots where they're not awesome, but like compared to what the Penguins have had the last couple of years, the whole forward group is doing great. I think there's a couple things you probably want to shuffle as far as who's playing with Crosby and Crosby and Malkin. Jesus, but like this is one of those games where both teams, like whoever loses this, kind of hurts.
Yeah, I mean, I'm telling you, every time I watch Pittsburgh, I have to do a double take. I'm like, oh, I keep forgetting Matt Nieto's still playing in the NHL.
As long as he has a pulse, Dubas will keep him in the league.
It is unbelievable. I swear to God, in my head, I've seen 5 different retirement tweets from this guy. Like I know he hasn't actually, but in my head, I think I've seen them. I'm like, it's also like I'm not used to seeing him play anywhere other than Colorado and San Jose. So like I'm just like, this is really weird. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I actually have no idea how to predict what's going to happen in that game against Pittsburgh, but I'll be honest, I have a feeling Minnesota's going to respond after that loss in Philly quite well, especially if Spurgeon's good to go and healthy. But who knows? Malkin is angry, so just pray for the league when that happens.
It is scary.
Like the defense has just been that bad where it's just like, I mean, he could put up 5 points and like there's still a 50-50 chance. It's still like it's anyone's game.
You just see him jump onto the ice. He sees John Merrill and just licks his fucking chops.
It's like, really, that's the guy you're gonna go? Okay, sure.
Gallup. Oh man. All right. Anything else Minnesota Wild that we want to hit on before we get into some prospects?
No, that's it.
That's it, he says. All right. Then we've got some of Judd's favorite buds to cover. Riley Heidt's just continuing to do the thing.
Yeah. So this week, Prince George played 2 games, both against Victoria. Friday, they won 6-3. Saturday, they lost 5-4 in a shootout. Riley Heidt was first star in both games. In the 6-3 win, he had a goal with 4 assists. Those 4 assists came in the first period. And I mean, literally, like, I was watching this game, and I was 99% sure that he was on the ice the entire time. It is unbelievable. Like, he made a couple other passes, too, on the power play and just teeing guys up for one-timers. I think they hit 3 more posts, too. Like, he actually probably could have had 4 or 5 more points. And I mean, in the third period, they kind of like took the foot off the gas a little bit, but like every time he touches the puck, he's looking to make something happen. More often than not, he is. Saturday in the 5-4 shootout loss, he put up 2 goals, 2 beauties, with 6 shots on net. Again, first star, so 7 points in those 2 games. He's up to 20 points in 11. He just is so fucking good, and no matter what people want to say, like, it is absolutely perfectly fine that he is playing the WHL. This doesn't slow down his development. He just happens to be better than 95% of the players in that league. He's just continuing to do the thing.
And Matt Hendricks said it on Fellowship last week too. Like, he would love for there to be a different league that he could play in, because there is not anything for him to go back and prove.
Dumbest fucking agreement on the play. The NHL CHL thing is so annoying.
You get it from a business perspective for the CHL, but like, why the fuck does the NHL agree to it? Like does the CHL really hold the cards here?
Apparently.
How?
Iowa would love it if this agreement didn't exist. They might go over. They're getting the dog shit kicked out of them every night.
Yeah, let's pause. Let's not talk specific players. What the fuck is happening in Iowa? Like, why is this occurring?
It's a great question.
That's why I'm here.
I mean, I think what's their actual record now? Oh, fuck you, AHL.com pop-ups. Get out of here. Let me pull up their actual record.
I don't know why, dude. That took me to how they're like all the porn bots exist out there on Twitter now. And whenever they like come in and hammer one of Big Cat's tweets, he'll just like quote tweet it and be like, "Not now, Cinnamon. We're talking football."
Yeah.
It's so
Yeah.
great.
They're 0-6-1. They have 1 point.
Nice.
And their 1 point came on Saturday in their 3-2 overtime loss to Texas. But I mean, they like, it's bad. Like they look, and I mean, I did watch the first, I think, watched 2 of their first 4 games in full. And I mean, they did have momentum shifts where they looked really good. And again, like Riley Heidt has looked awesome. Mikey Milnes looked awesome for them. But like, they cannot put it together whatsoever for 60 minutes. And it's one of the, like we were talking about before, like last year, Minnesota's start, like one thing would go wrong and immediately like the entire roster would collapse, and like you're just giving up like 15 shots in 2 minutes and you can't get the puck out. That happens for like 30 minutes at a time in Iowa, the games that I've watched in full. And it's just like, good God. I mean, Brendan Gaunce leads them, and Mikey Milne leads them in points with 5 each. Then Hunter Haight's got 4, along with Travis Boyd. They have had to go games without much of their roster, just given the fact that guys like Damon Hunt got called up. Travis Boyd got called up. Jesper Wallstedt was spending his first few games up and watching NHL hockey. But I mean, it's not bad enough to the point where like that's to blame. Like it is legit. Like they're just getting absolutely pounded. Like it is unbelievable. And like, it feels like every scoring chance they give up, it's like, that's going in the net. It is like high danger city. And it just looks not great, but it's also very funny. They played tomorrow at 11 a.m. So, like a midday game makes me laugh every time. It's so funny. You're muted.
11 a.m. is weird.
Yeah, I don't know if it's like,
of that.
Yeah, they've done it before where it's like they'll do like Kids Day or whatever, where it's like for whatever reason kids don't have school. I don't even know. I don't know if that's a thing. So
like Martin Luther King Day, President's Day, something like that.
Maybe something like that.
I don't think there's just like you were a teacher. Like there's just random days where it's like, hey, today's no school day.
I've erased that period of time from my memory. So
no, you still drink.
That's true. That's a good point. That's a good point. Speaking of, yeah, I mean, Iowa, it's bad. It is. You don't really watch any of those games thinking they're gonna pull this one out. It's like no. So, it's the opposite. My
question though is like, is this a flawed roster or are people just not fucking performing? Like what's your take as of today?
Yes, it's a weird mix where like they still have a bunch of like super young guys, and this time they didn't really like. You lose a guy like Stephen Fogarty, who was always really good for them, and like a couple of those other veterans had been there for a while, and like they only went out and got like Travis Boyd as like a legit player who's played a long time to replace them. And now you're just full leaning on the youth movement here, especially again, like the back end, like same thing. They're super, super young back there. I mean, they haven't figured out the line combos. They have not figured out the right D pairs. Like they're just like kind of all over the place where like, it's also a case where you don't really know what the identity of the team is. It's pretty much like the one thing I can bank on is Adam Raska going out and just like trying to fight someone or just like causing chaos. That's the one thing I'm like, I bet that will happen at least 10 times this game. But I mean, I think so far we've seen like different line combinations in every single game, and they're just trying to find the right combo. And like the only 2 guys that are really going together are Mikey Milne and Hunter Haight. But it's a shit show. It's crazy, but Chicago stinks, I think, and that's what they're playing tomorrow at 11 a.m. So we'll see what happens.
That doesn't make me feel better. I wish it was a good team, so I'd have at least like a reason to fall back on for losing. All right, let's talk about I would argue, I guess, with the exception of one, like the most prized, most coveted prospect in the pool, Zeev Buium. He hasn't scored a goal yet this season, so he sucks.
Yeah, it's over. The hype is overblown. Yeah, they really put a whooping on Wisconsin this weekend.
Love that.
4-2 on night one. Then Saturday they won 6-1. Z Bouillon assists in both games. He's got 7 and 6 now. And again, just like watching him with the puck, he looks different than everyone else on the ice when he has it. Another guy that whenever he receives it, he's just never standing still. And I mean, he is just dancing guys out of their boots every single time he gets the puck. And I mean, a lot of these points are coming the power play because Denver is on the power play so often because no one can handle them. Like, they are unbelievable again. Like, top to bottom, all 4 lines, all 3 D pairs, goal. Like, they are just such a well put together hockey team that they'll probably get 5 or 6 power plays every single game. And I mean, when you put them on the power play, usually they're ticking around 30-40%. And a lot of that just has to do with like how well Z Bouillon is dictating play and quarterbacking them. He is unbelievable. Like, he is so fun to watch. The skill, the passing, and again, doesn't sacrifice defensively anything whatsoever. So he's just such a well-rounded player with ridiculously high upside.
Did you see the? Well, I won't weigh in with my personal opinion, but did you see the jerseys that Denver is supposed?
I was going to ask you because I know you hate them. They
fucking
were
disgusting, dude.
They look like McDonald's.
It's bad. I don't even care about the McDonald's aspect. Like, it just isn't good.
It feels incomplete. Didn't it feel like someone started it?
Yes, because I fucking hate. I hate when hockey jerseys try and do the football jersey thing. When Team USA did that shit for World Juniors in Buffalo, that was disgusting. I was so upset. Those were terrible.
Yeah, they were great.
You know what I'm talking about? Do you remember those jerseys?
Yes, I do.
They were horrendous. And these ones, I actually like. I like aspects of it. I actually like having the many stripes on the sleeve. It feels weird because even though technically these are the colors they go with, Denver shouldn't be red and yellow. They should be maroon and more like Vegas gold, kind of like the vintage, or not vintage, but like the early 2000s Pittsburgh Penguins had. Like, that is Denver to me. So seeing the red and yellow, bad. Having them do the jersey number on center chest and then have DU on the shoulder, fucking bad. Bad. Bill Guerin should sign him now to free him from ever having to wear it. Bad.
Yeah, again, like you said, I think the first thing that threw me off was the shade of red, which is just that's not right at all. Like, it's way too bright. Second of all, those are some of the worst socks I don't
think I even made it to the socks. Now I got to go back and look at it.
They look terrible. I don't even know why the placement of the New Balance logo also pisses me off on the socks, but that's bad. It's super fucking weird. It's like,
I don't mind. Hang on. Okay, so the New Balance on the socks, very bad. The socks as a whole, again, if we move past the color choice, I don't mind the socks.
Yeah, maybe if they were the right shade,
right?
Both colors.
Agreed.
The one thing
the DU actually might piss me off more than anything. Just the awkward DU there on the chest. I hate it.
So again, it feels like whoever was designing this was in the middle. They're in the office, they're working, and then the fire alarm went off, and they all had to clear the building. They came back in, and for whatever reason, it deleted, and they never went back. Then this is the product.
They forgot. They're like, oh hey, we got to jump on this now.
Yeah, it feels incomplete, specifically because how big the DU is. Then there's the giant awkward number in the middle, and then there's nothing on the other side. It just feels
so bad.
They feel a little bit too off weight. The weight's off. There's just not enough there. It's a weird fucking jersey.
Dude, on the flip side, decent chance we see them and Minnesota in St. Louis come April. And that makes me very, very happy. This weekend was fun. This weekend was real fun.
Did you go to the game?
I was in the press box for the first game, not the second game.
This is the Minnesota, just for everyone we have officially.
Yep, sorry, Gophers. So I wasn't able to go to the game at the X because the wife had one of her best friend's birthday dinner or something. So I was on kid duty, but was at the Mariucci game, which I threw the video up of the stands just knowing it would get people to reply because of how empty they were. But like, sorry, this is a big scheduling fuck up. Like, why would you have your first home game in the midst of homecoming at 5:30? Fucking 5:30 puck drop. Some people aren't even off work yet. What the fuck are you doing? Like, so of course the stands are empty, but the student section was actually filled and rowdy. And guess what? It didn't matter how many people were there because just less people to witness the murder that took place. Interesting, in both games, the Tommies take the lead, like score early. And actually, for the first like 5 minutes of the first game, St. Thomas actually looked really good, and they were kind of running on the Gophers. And then they just kind of stopped. They're like, yeah, so we're going to stop letting them do this, yeah? And break, and it was over. Like, Brody Lamb absolutely owns the Tommies. I think he's got I'm trying to remember how many goals he has to this point, but I think like a third of them have been scored against St. Thomas. Not this year. I'm saying in his career with the Gophers.
Yeah.
But there was no hold up, period. Couple things we got to talk about Gophers before we get back on the Wild prospect train. First and foremost, I said it a little concerned early on. Now I'm just full on going to endorse it. Sam Renzel needs to be in the Hobie discussion. Yep. This guy is having a fucking year.
Yep.
And he was like my pick at the beginning of the year to be the guy that pops off, which like, that's not like a hot take. He's a very good player, but like, you look at a blue line that has Kester, has Chesley, and all of the forwards in this group, to think that he'd be the guy that would rise and be the leading Hobie candidate for the team. Tell you what, he's there. I'm all aboard that train. He is going to have a fucking year. Now you can say the same thing about them as we're saying about Winnipeg. Like, have they played anyone of note? No. But they're taking care of business. The only one that kind of hurts is that the Uno loss looks real bad after they just got drubbed back-to-back weekends. But, oh well. What can you do? This Kurth Clark Wood line. Holy crap. We'll get to our guy in a second, but Kurth and Wood. Like, did you expect what we're seeing from either of them? Regardless of like line combos.
So I mean, like, first of all, real quick, not like the Sam Renzel going off was the least shocking thing possible for me. Just like, he was primed to just like, if Minnesota was really gonna push for like the national championship, it was like, when I look at that back end. And I mean, when you look around the country too, there are very few defensemen with that skill set. Plus, he's got the size, and when he wants to fucking hit someone, I mean, he is a fucking animal when he chooses to. But I mean, third on the team in points, 4 goals and 5 assists for 9 in 6 games, +6. He's only taken 2 penalties too, which is also impressive. Sometimes I've seen him like, it was more like, I guess, junior. Well, not junior, but like when he was younger, dude, every once in a while you would see him just like get mad about nothing and just immediately decapitate someone. So he had like a short wick, but I mean, he's been very, obviously, like, just very well composed. But yeah, there haven't been very many opportunities for him to get mad because they are just playing so well. Yeah, but I mean, like, he's clicking it like over a point per game on that back end. But Connor Kurth and Matthew Wood, first and second on the team in points. Matthew Wood, not really. I was curious to see.
In college hockey right now, I believe.
Yeah. Both have 12 points. Kurth's got 6 and 6. Wood's got 3 goals, 9 assists, which is also like, that's the thing that surprises me, is the fact that Wood's not just doing it being an absolute sniper. He's got more assists than goals.
Dude, did you hear his quote after the game?
No.
So after the first game down in media availability, I think it was Russo's guy. Man, why do I space on his name? Dylan Laux.
Oh, Dylan, yeah. Yeah.
He asks him, he's like, so that goal you scored there, what did you see? Because I didn't see a whole lot of room there. And he just looks over and says, there was enough room. And that's all he says.
So, like, there you go.
What an answer.
Like, that's how fucking good he is. And, like, he doesn't need, but even, like, he's getting it done with assists and, like, flashing the occasional, like, playmaking, which, again, like, his whole, like, leading up to this year, he has just been an absolute sniper. He's got one of the best shots in college hockey. And, like, this trio of Kurth, Wood, and Jimmy Clark, like, they can do everything. Like,
what's
they
our
give
favorite
you
part about
something
this line?
in everything.
What's our favorite part about this line?
I feel like I'm forgetting.
I texted you about it.
Oh, the fact that they're penned in is like their third or fourth line half the time. Like,
penned in is the fourth line every game.
Yeah.
I love it.
And I think they all three of them play like 22 minutes. Like,
I'm obsessed with the fact that Bob keeps doing it.
And, like, you know, again, Connor Kurth, phenomenal college hockey player. He gives you a little bit of everything. You've got Matthew Wood, who's supposedly supposed to be just like an absolute sniper, and then you've just got Jimmy Clark, who's just any coach that you talk to him about, that any coach that's had him is like, he's one of our more just reliable, whatever situation we need. Plus, by the way, he is a ridiculous passer of the puck. Now he's winning faceoffs at a ridiculous clip too. Like, he's just affecting all three zones. That line is so much fun to watch, and Minnesota as a whole is a very, very fun hockey. When they get going, like you said, they started slow against both teams. Do you agree with me, though?
Do you agree with me that, like, they haven't really even clicked? Like, when they score the goals, like, you see it. But there's so many times where there's miscues and things are going wrong. This line, if they stay together, dude, the ceiling is so fucking high.
And you have to think there's no reason that Motzko is even going to consider breaking them up at, like, unless he wants to get Snuggerud going, who still has he's over a point per game anyways.
Dude, he's been an enigma for me, where, like, you see it once or twice a period where it's like, oh fuck, there's Jimmy. Outside of that, I don't notice him at all. Like, he's just also, like, disappeared.
I mean, the kid's shooting 0.034% or 3.4%. Like, he is, like, he's put up 29. He's put up 29 shots. He has 1 goal. Like, he's going to – that'll flip.
Totally. But I'm not even seeing the good shots, though, is my point. Like, there's not many times that I'm like, oh, fuck, that should have gone in. Like, Jimmy's buzzing. He's had good moments every game, but start to finish the game, like, he really isn't that noticeable.
Yeah, I mean, the last few games I've watched, some of the shots he's throwing out there, it's just like, okay, he's clearly aware that he has 1 goal and he's not, like, he stepped into college hockey and immediately was, like, contending for the Hokie. So I'm sure he's just, like, also in his own head, too. I have a funny feeling once their schedule picks up, I would not be surprised if all of a sudden he just, like, emerges and just starts going off. And you look at his track record, there's no reason to expect or to not expect him to have, like, a 5-game streak where he has, like, 9 goals. Like, I think that's going to come eventually here. But I mean, what a fun hockey team right now, dude.
Dude, I love it. If the goaltending holds up, they are going to be, like, I think that they are the team to beat this year. I do. If the goaltending holds up. And that's, like, Denver, sick. BC, sick. They're all good. If the goaltending gets sorted out and Bob comes to, like, grips with his number one and it's a guy that they can ride, that I don't think there's a deeper team in college hockey. I don't. Now, if we're going to compare first lines, like, yeah, the BC first line is probably going to finish the year as the best line in hockey. That they should. But you look at the blue line depth, this is almost as good as the year in Tampa that they choked away to Quinnipiac. You look at their forward lines, they don't have a single line that wouldn't qualify as, at worst, a third line on, like, a top 5 team in the country. Most of them across the league. Like, we're talking second, first line for most teams across all of these lines. That's a luxury that teams don't have.
Right.
But Jimmy slowed up on the score sheet a little bit, and he didn't have his best game when I was there on Friday. Like, it wasn't bad, but you could tell like there were some things that he'd want to have back. Doing a good job though on the faceoff dot. First night he was 9 of 12. Next night he was 9 of 18. So that hurts the ratio a little bit. But like, if this line can keep going and just let the rest of the lines get sorted out as the season goes, watch the fuck out for the Gophers. But Jimmy Clark, he's on the ascent. Like, this is a guy that for a 7th round pick, like, holy shit. Go off, Judd.
Yeah. I mean, he rocks. Like, he's such a fun player. And again, like, when you just we always are gonna laugh about the plus minus stat, but when you look at the 3 of those guys, like whenever they are on the ice, good things are happening. Like Jimmy Clark at this point, assists in both games against the Tommies.
Yep.
+3 on Friday, +1 on Saturday. He's got 8 points in 6 games. He's a +11. He's won 50, close to 60% of his faceoffs. He's also blocked 4 shots. Like, again, like his big calling card in the USHL was that ridiculous passing ability. Like, some of the passes he would make were just comical.
Dude,
now he's got this ridiculous
he had too. Oh.
Yeah, nasty. Like Matthew Woods says there was enough room, valid shot. It's the same thing with like Jimmy Clark passing a puck through like a tight seam. It's like, yeah, I can get that there. Like, it's fine. I'm fine in tape.
Is this our Lizard Prince?
Oh my god! Careful.
Print the shirts. Print the shirts.
But yeah, no. Jimmy Clark rocks. Yeah. He's off to a strong start. Minnesota's off to a strong start. Very fun hockey team to watch.
Now, the team that's being ranked above them, Michigan State.
Charlie Strayman looks fucking awesome. He looks fucking awesome.
This weekend, 30 for 39 at the faceoff dot. Wild fans, sure. Pee yourself a little bit.
I mean, again, they play Canisius, whatever. But he had assists in both games. First game, 13 for 15 on the dot. Second game, 17 for 24 at the dot. Also blocked a shot on Friday, but he put up 7 shots on it on Saturday. But he looks so good. He is a big part of that offense. He's fourth or fifth for Michigan State right now in scoring.
Who's on his line?
He's playing with oh my god,
Ice Cream Man.
Yeah. Why do I always do this? I always almost say Oliver Moore. I do this every time, and I don't know why. That
doesn't make sense to me at all, but I'm fascinated.
Me either.
Like we're talking about Zdeno Chara, and you just want to slip in Rem Pitlick for some reason. That doesn't compute.
Yeah, no, I do. It's me.
But yeah, I mean, hard to be upset about what's happened so far with Charlie, which I don't know, Z, we got to get you out here. That'd be the prime time for you to be in Minnesota is when Michigan State is here playing the Gophers mid-December.
Yeah, seriously. But like, actually, seriously though, what do we like?
Go ahead.
Like, the thing with Stramel too, like people were being annoying about Charlie Stramel at Wisconsin.
No.
When he finally went to Michigan State, the one thing was like, all right, what does success look like? What would make you feel better about his progression as a prospect going to Michigan State? It's like, I said at the time, it's not even really that much about the point production. I need him to produce something, obviously, but like being leaned on as one of their go-to guys in big games and like being thrown over the boards for like the PK, winning faceoffs, like doing just like looking like he's getting back to just being the all-around hockey player that they drafted with that offensive upside. And at this point, he is one of their go-to guys. He's just under a point per game. He's got 60 shots on net, only taken 1 penalty so far. He's over 50% of the faceoff dot. He's blocked 4 shots. He's playing a ton of them. He's in their top 6. Like, he's one of their go-to guys on one of the best teams in the country. So far, so good for Charlie Stramel, which I'm very happy about. And he just looks significantly more confident playing in this system.
He just looks happy, right?
He looks like he's enjoying playing hockey again.
It is important though, because like for anyone that's listening that really just cares about NHL hockey and doesn't pay as much attention to college or watches college but like doesn't quite understand, like it's fucking hard to score 10 goals in a college season. And when Scott Wheeler came on with us a couple months ago, like he said just that. He's like, if Stramel comes out and has a 10-10 season, I'll take that if he's doing everything else right. Like that would make me, if I'm a Wild fan, happy. I'm like, all right, I'm good with that.
Yep.
Now, with Stramel's size, I have to note, because I didn't mention it before with the Gophers, Matthew Wood gets taller every game, I'm convinced.
I think so.
He looks so fucking big out there, dude. It like breaks my brain. Like I see him skating around there. I'm like, who is this freaking like troll person out here?
Yeah, I forget where. This is when he was at UConn his freshman year. I can't remember where I saw him live in person, but I remember thinking like, I mean, he's tall. And then like 2 weeks later, I was streaming a game like, this is the biggest fucking player in the country. He's like huge. And I'm like, oh my god.
But then like I saw him in the post game availability, and like he doesn't look like a very big person. But he's watch him on the ice, and it's like he's the biggest man alive.
biggest kid in the world.
Oh shit. All right. That's it for Stramel. Last one we got to say, over in Europe, the man who was the greatest decision Bill Guerin ever made, Aaron Kiviharju, 4 points in his last 5 games played. How are things going in Finland?
Yeah, no, and he's just on a 3-game point streak. He had goals in back-to-back games, had another assist on Saturday. He's playing more and more minutes every night. He's playing like second PK unit, which is interesting because if you look at his like defensive game, the one thing you were about is like his in zone defense, not so much against the run. Like he's really good rush defender, and like his ability to kill plays in the neutral zone, he's really good. So I like that they're using him honestly, like on the PK, just to kind of like work on that. But he looks more and more confident every game as well. He's their go-to guy in the power play. The goals that he scores are just absolute rips. Specifically, the one on Friday, like at first glance, it kind of just looks like he's being a goalie that's down and out. But then you realize the goalie's down and out because he receives the puck in the slot and does like a half fake and waits for the goalie to bite, and then he just snaps it home. Like he's such a fucking smart hockey player. Which, when you're a defenseman at that size, you either need to. Demidov's going. He is eviscerated.
That one was filthy.
Yeah, he's sick. He's doing great things. I hate it. But when you have an undersized defenseman like Kiviharju, like he's not just like he's tiny. Like he's a small human being. Either you need to be a legitimately like 1,000-mile-an-hour / dynamic skater, or you need to be like the smartest player on the ice when you jump over the boards. And he's the latter. Like he doesn't have the top speed. He's like plenty agile and he's very deceptive in his movements, but like his ability to read the game and just like offensively read goaltenders and defensive, like he is such a high IQ player. And that's how he gets a lot of his points, honestly. Like the passes he makes backdoor, it's half the time it's him manipulating defense or manipulating the goalie. But the last 2 goals that he scored this week were specifically him just doing the half fake, making the goalie bite, and then just ripping it, like just going shelf. But the second one was sneaky, the more impressive one, just like his just floating through the slot and making everyone bite, like goaltender and defense, and then just ripping it home. It's like an undersized guy. He's got a cannon. So, but he looks really good. He's getting a ton of minutes now. So good to see.
Awesome. And we don't need to do everyone that exists in the pool, but anyone that I didn't mention that we need to cover. Like, did anyone have a notedly good or bad week since we last met?
I mean, Aaron Pionk went off again this weekend. They're playing Stonehill, so whatever. But 3 assists on Friday. another assist on Saturday in their 2-1 win over Stonehill. So he's got 8 assists in 7 games. I mean, given Duluth's composition, like their roster in general, a lot of that work has to come on the power play. But I gotta look at their stats.
You skirted around that so much. Like they have some kind of like physical or mental disability that you're like, I don't know how to phrase this.
Well, no, it's just like
circumstance.
You look at like they don't have, like, as a team, they don't have one guy that's one of the best players in college hockey. Like I think he's second on the team in points right now, the defenseman. He's got 8 and 7. So a lot of the offense has to come from the power play.
If they still had Oliver Moore, dude.
Yeah, well, Oliver Moore, that guy. I'm trying to think.
That's how we find out if listeners are paying attention. If they get what I meant there.
20%. Yeah. No, he has assists on all of their power play goals. He is he drives that offense from the back end. I think he's another guy that probably plays close to 30 minutes a night for them. And again, when they played Minnesota, like Jimmy Clark had a great game, put up 3 assists, and then Pionk had 4 and finished +1. He had his guy. But he's fun. He's really fun to watch, and like you can see like the offensive ability just from the fact that he was a forward at one point, but the fact that he can translate that into like from the back end and quarterback in that power play, like his puck moving ability, decision making with the puck, like, it's awesome. He's a fun player to watch, but I at least wanted to mention the fact that he had 4 assists this weekend. And he's got 8 and 7.
That's worth mentioning. Apparently, I don't know how bad it is, but confirmed from Cole, McDavid's hurt. Oilers are screwed.
Oh, boy. Well,
he sustained a lower body injury in Oilers game, whatever that means. Still 0-0 with Tampa and Nashville, by the way, halfway through the first.
If Steven Stamkos scores a hat trick, I will win $1,000. So I could do, I mean...
Pulling for that. Let's do it. We like that.
Speaking of injuries, real quick, the Ryder Ritchie situation is bad. Like,
oh really?
A week ago, I finally found a fucking update. A week ago, they said upper body injury, not expected to return anytime soon. So whatever, again, he took a skate blade to the face. That was the last shift that he had, and like at no point has he been close to returning. And when he went off, he was like clearly in massive distress. Like, I don't know. Again, there's no specific updates other than the upper body, but like his last shift was literally getting a skate to the face. So that's scary. That sucks for him. The fact that they just said not expected to return anytime soon is also just incredibly ominous. So I hate that.
No, that's
at least I wanted to mention that because I've had a few people ask me about like what's going on with Ryder Ritchie.
Don't know.
Apparently is not going to play hockey soon.
That blows.
Yeah, I know. I fucking hate that. But one other guy I at least wanted to mention specifically, because if you just look at stats, you probably wouldn't be that impressed. But Chase Wutzke, the goalie for Red Deer that they drafted this year, now he's 5-4. He's got 3.1 goals against and a 906. I need people to understand in junior hockey, like a 910 is the equivalent of like a 935 in the NHL. Like junior hockey goal, the stats are like the goalie stats are like, wait, we're impressed with this guy.
Like goalies, like 60% is good.
Yeah, no, like literally. But he. Friday, he made 40 saves on 42 shots with third star of that game. They got pumped by Lethbridge the next night. He is also pretty much the only goalie that they can play. Like the other guy, like their other goalie, I think is 0-4. He's been yanked like twice. So Chase Wutzke's played a ton of hockey recently, but like he looks really good. Very smart goalie, moves really well, looks super athletic. But specifically, I did want to mention him, because he's playing well, obviously. But like when you just look at the stats as just like it is absolutely not telling the whole story, because that's like 5-4, 310 goals against, and a 906 is like, hey, he's probably a good goalie when you like look at goalies overall playing junior hockey as starters, anyways. On a decent Red Deer team too, but they lost a bunch of guys this year, so they're kind of in one. But he looks really good. He was first star a couple games ago too, and then Friday third star. But he's been looking good.
We like that.
Oh, by the way, Yurov scored again yesterday, so he's
so he's still okay at hockey.
Fuck, is he good? Again, and part of Russo's mailbag too, like part of the Rossi, like the hesitation to extend him, a lot of that comes down. I really cannot believe they're really banking super hard on, like, if they're really like convinced that Danil Yurov's a top 6 center, like that scares, like if they're just like, yes, this is what's going to happen, that scares the fuck out of me.
Agreed.
I don't know why.
First off, if it is a matter of Yurov, which I shouldn't have said first off because Isha's gonna go nuts. If it's just Yurov, that worries me. I think it's got to be more about there being real credence to like a Brock Nelson or someone being targeted for the offseason, because if it is just Yurov, great. Talk Rossi into a bridge deal. Like that's perfect case scenario. Like have both. See which one works, cream rises to the top. But if it is just Yurov, that scares the shit out of me.
Like specifically, that was the like when he brought up they're banking or expecting Yurov to be like a top 6 center. That was like the reason they're hesitating on committing to Rossi long term, like not just as soon as like the next year or two. Sure. But I mean, I'm also sitting here like, well, he's your first line center right now. Like.
He's also looking fucking good.
He looks really good. I mean, again, I get it somewhat, but putting a ton of eggs in the basket of Yurov as like a first or second line center, I'm like, okay.
Hear me out.
I read it again more so as like top 6 forward, because that's absolutely the case. Like, well, not absolutely the case. That's a fair thing to like feel confident about. Well, the center thing to me is crazy. Like, it's just like, if that's actually how they're looking at it, that I'm like, I don't know how you could possibly bank that hard on this, but we'll see.
I dream though of like a world where we have the luxury, if we've got good enough players, whatever, like call it what you want on the actual depth chart, because you'd probably still have the second line be the, Ack, Boldy, Ogren. But as far as like role and expectation, imagine that being your third line, quote unquote. Your top 6 has centers of Yurov and Rossi, wherever they shuffle out. You got a Riley Heidt. You got a Kaprizov. You've got other guys that apparently we're going to sign. Like if Besser comes here, he's a top 6er. Like there is a real world where you have the best third line ever assembled with Eck, Boldy, and Ogren. And I would fucking love that. And it would be the first time in my life that I'd be like, holy shit, the Wild could maybe win a Stanley Cup.
Yeah, I hope Ogren's back in Iowa soon. Let him play.
Agreed.
Iowa.
I think Iowa hopes that too.
I think everyone is like, because I mean, I'm also getting people tweeting at me. I thought you said Ogren was God. I'm like, he's playing fucking 6 minutes tonight. Like,
bad.
Like, fuck off.
Bad. But don't enjoy it. Fun.
Yeah, I think that's about it. Should do it.
Okay.
Yep. Let's see.
You'll enjoy it. We had to talk about Halloween on Fellowship last week because of Lauco, naturally. I brought up the Kiss My Anthea thing, and like for the first time in a while, I saw Judge be like, interested. Tell me more. Like, he is a role models guy. He's one of us.
That's big. That's
important. We need a fourth person. We need one more person to be part of Kiss My Anthea.
Yeah.
Also, who's which? Yeah, you got the shirt. Yeah. All right, we got to go full screen with this. Oh, except no, the overlay is going to mess it up. All right, we're still going to do it. Solo layout. I'll figure out how to remove this. Boom. Sturdy wings. What do you eat for breakfast?
You know what I have for breakfast? Cocaine. You know what I have for lunch? Cocaine. What
What
you
do
have
you
for
have for
dinner?
dinner? Is it cocaine?
cocaine?
Whoop. This is all just getting wonky now. I shouldn't have tried to do things.
Nah, it's fine. It worked out great.
Yeah, the best. But yes, role models. Simply the best.
Such a good fucking, God damn it. Still, I mean, this does not work for podcasts, but just that fucking, the facial expression where they're like, he's cool. It's like, step down, dude. That's the vibe. That facial expression. Oh, so good.
See, though, the same energy, but verbally instead of visually, because that one is all in the visual, like, huh? But one of my top 5 quotes in the movie has to be, of course he has a turtle.
Of course he has a fucking turtle.
And it's the same energy.
Yeah. Yeah. Flyer Voracek, Brett Marshall is.
What happened now?
He said Brett Marshall required to be a Sota podcast host.
He is one.
I love that he does it sometimes with Isha. With like the analytics with
it's
Isha.
only with Isha.
It's so funny to me. I like.
Well, the idea, and they didn't lean into it with like the branding and all, but the idea is that as the season goes on, like Brett's gonna say what's going on with analytics, and Isha's there to be the mongoloid that just goes with what he sees on the ice. It's eyes versus analytics.
I was watching the MMA, the Japanese MMA. I think if we put some fucking skates on this guy, might be able to turn the PK around.
How many arm bars per 60, Brett?
Yeah, unbelievable. Isha, what a fascinating human being. Love you, but stop sending us these videos, or keep doing it. It's also funny. Maybe don't stop.
I was gonna say, if he stopped for like a month, you'd be like,
"Oh,
dude, is Isha okay?"
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, so I mean, there's no disrespect, but I feel like we're all in agreement here. Brett's the cat, right?
Yeah.
Who's Star Child? We're gonna have to workshop this a lot harder.
Yeah, no, we weren't ready. We should have, if we knew this was going to be in-depth breakdown, we probably would have put more thought into it before. Yeah.
Is mongoloid the even older term?
Yeah, I actually can't.
IQ individual. I don't know, Cosgrove.
Yeah, I actually was surprised that you dropped that. But
okay,
let's see. I think that that should be.
I don't think that's un-PC to say. Is it?
I don't know.
Oh, you seem concerned. Okay, got it. Like that feels like calling someone a caveman to me. Is that not the same thing?
I mean,
no. Okay.
But not to just switch. The fucking Blue Jackets are beating the Oilers 3-0 now.
That's awesome. Go, Dean.
Hell yeah. Wow. Okay. Leafs
No,
are
it
also
is.
out.
Hang on. It is Halloween week, and Joe asked this last week when we were talking through the Halloween stuff. What is your most regrettable Halloween costume?
I've never been a big Halloween guy. So I don't even have any Halloween question. Like to me, it's gonna be a very boring answer. Like I'm not never did anything. Never went crazy with it ever. I will find the most lazy possible.
All right. So what's the laziest costume you did? Did you do 3-hole punch Z?
No, my buddy in college made 2 shirts, Netflix and chill, and I was like, I'm Netflix, because his other buddy that was supposed to do it with him didn't go out that night, and I was like, fine, I'll fucking wear your red T-shirt that says Netflix on it. We were Netflix and chill.
Oh, okay, got it.
I was like, great, I'm wearing sweatpants and slippers and a T-shirt to a college party. Great, that works out well for me.
Dude, I just came up with an incredible costume that I don't know if maybe we'll remember next year, but tell you what, you're responsible for reminding me. I need to just dress up as like a big like thing of flames, like a bonfire or something. And then I have little man be Elmo.
Oh, yeah.
I just have him walk in front of me.
Perfect.
He can't walk yet. I'll have him strapped in front of me. Whatever.
Hell yeah. Oh, look at that. Toronto 1-0 on Winnipeg right now.
That's what we expect.
All right, we should end it.
We
next
should.
week we'll who knows? Actually,
Do something. Yeah, it's a surprise.
Something will happen.
We think.
Part of me wants to do like making a lineup with the prospects, like a U25 lineup or something, and put together the best roster I could put.
So does that include Faber? Like, are we going true U25, or are we saying like guys that are not part of the team? 25 and under. Okay. Oh, so we're gonna go with Team North America vibes. Got it.
Yeah. I was thinking about doing that literally like during my lunch break today, and then I got a bunch of.
All right, next week. We'll probably forget, but that will be a fun thing if we do it.
Perfect. Love that.
Love that.
All right, end it. I